The day they told me to stick to my paperwork, I knew they'd just handed me the rope. Rachel Morgan from HR sat across that conference table with my job description highlighted like some kind of legal document. "We need clear boundaries, Marcus," she said in that soft corporate voice. "Safety compliance, union jurisdiction. You understand? I'm Marcus Kane, 49 years old, been running operations coordination at Midwest Industrial Solutions for 15 years. 18 years Army logistics before that, enlisted straight out of high school. Did my time from Desert Storm through Iraq. Came home and figured manufacturing would be easier than dodging IEDs. Turns out corporate warfare just uses different weapons. I understood all right. I understood they wanted me to stop fixing their problems so they could blame me when everything went sideways. See, here's what they didn't want to admit. I'd been keeping their defense contracts alive by doing 3 jobs instead of 1. My official title was Senior Manufacturing Operations Coordinator. On paper, that meant tracking schedules, managing documentation, coordinating between departments. In reality, I was the guy who caught quality failures before they shipped to General Dynamics. The guy who rerouted supply chains when vendors screwed up. The guy who kept $223 million in quarterly defense contracts from going completely FUBAR. Brandon Walsh, my boss, sat there nodding like this was all reasonable. Brandon was the kind of manager who took credit for wins and disappeared when things got messy. He'd built his reputation on my work, and now he was throwing me under the bus to keep the union happy. Classic corporate move: protect the system, sacrifice the soldier. Marcus has been overstepping, Rachel continued, her pen clicking against that manila folder. Quality department filed formal complaints. Floor supervisors say you're interfering with their chain of command. I looked at the highlighted sections on that paper. Coordinate schedules, maintain documentation. Interface between departments. Nothing about catching defective parts heading to military vehicles. Nothing about emergency supply chain fixes when vendors went dark. Nothing about the stuff that actually kept American soldiers alive. "So you want me to stop quality checks?" I asked, keeping my voice level. "We want you to trust the system," Brandon said. "Let quality handle quality issues. Let supervisors handle floor operations. Everyone has their role." Their role, I'd heard that phrase before. In Baghdad, right before everything went sideways. Everyone has their role. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about that supply convoy route. Trust the chain of command. 3 good soldiers died because someone stayed in their lane instead of checking the intelligence reports. But this wasn't Iraq. This was corporate America, where covering your 6 meant something different. Here it meant covering your ass with paperwork while real problems got buried in bureaucracy. So I picked up that pen, tapped it once against the highlighted paper, and said the words that would change everything. "Copy that. I'll follow the job description exactly as written." Rachel's shoulders dropped like she'd been holding her breath. Brandon's smile got that satisfied look managers get when they think they've solved a problem. Neither of them understood what they'd just done. They'd taken their best troubleshooter and turned him into a paper pusher. In the military, we call that tactical stupidity. I walked out of that glass conference room knowing they'd just made the biggest mistake of their careers. Not because I was planning some kind of revenge. I don't work that way. But because systems have consequences, and when you handcuff the guy who's been holding things together, you find out real quick what happens when he lets go. The hallway back to my desk felt different. Same fluorescent lights, same industrial carpet, same motivational posters about teamwork and excellence. But something had shifted. For 15 years, I'd been the guy who stepped up when things went wrong. The guy who stayed late to fix problems that weren't officially mine. The guy who made everyone else look good by preventing disasters before they happened. Now I was officially just a coordinator. Documentation and scheduling. Interface between departments. Nothing more, nothing less. Ashley Bennett caught me at my desk before I could sit down. Ashley was good people. One of the few in quality control who actually cared about getting things right instead of just checking boxes. She looked worried, that kind of worry you see when someone knows a mission's about to go sideways. "Marcus, did you hear about the union complaints?" "Just came from HR," I said, settling into my chair. New boundaries, clear roles, you know the drill. She glanced around, then leaned closer. "They're saying you've been stepping on toes. Quality department's jurisdiction, supervisor authority, the whole 9 yards." I opened my computer and pulled up the morning reports. Same routine I'd been doing for 15 years, except now it meant something different. "Guess I'll stick to what's on paper then." Ashley looked confused. But what about the cross-department issues? The stuff that falls through the cracks? That's not my problem anymore, I said, and felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger. Anger was too hot, too emotional. This was something else. The calm that comes when you stop fighting the current and decide to see where it takes you. She stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. Marcus, you know how things work here. Half the stuff that keeps us running isn't in anybody's job description. I looked up from my screen. Then maybe it's time someone figured out whose job it really is. That was Tuesday morning. By Wednesday afternoon, I was about to find out exactly what happens when you follow orders in a system that only works because people ignore them. The first test came sooner than expected. I was reviewing delivery schedules when Ashley rushed over to my desk, her face white as printer paper. Marcus, we've got a situation. Batch 47C, the parts heading to General Dynamics. The tensile strength numbers are off spec, but they're already staged for shipping. In the old days, I would have been up from my desk before she finished talking. Down to the floor, pulling those parts, calling the line supervisor, writing up the incident report, fixing the problem before it became a crisis. Now I open my job description and read it like scripture. That's a quality department issue. Ashley, you need to escalate through your supervisor according to proper channels. Her face went from white to gray. Marcus, you know how this works. By the time it goes through channels, that shipment's on a truck to Ohio. These parts are going into armored vehicles. I felt that familiar tightness in my chest. The same feeling I got in Baghdad when higher-ups ignored field intelligence because it didn't fit their operational timeline. But I'd been given direct orders. Stay in my lane. Trust the system. Route it through proper channels, I said. My voice steady as a GPS coordinate. That's the process they want followed. Ashley stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had, or maybe I'd finally found it. Sometimes you have to stop being part of the solution to show people there's a problem. Marcus, she started. Ashley, I said, not looking up from my screen. I'm following my job description exactly as HR directed. Quality issues are quality department responsibility. I coordinate schedules and maintain documentation. That's what it says right here in black and white. She stood there for another 10 seconds, probably hoping I'd change my mind. When I didn't, she walked away shaking her head. I watched her go and felt something I hadn't expected. Peace. The shipment went out Tuesday morning. Batch 47C. Loaded onto a flatbed truck, heading north to General Dynamics facility in Cleveland. I watched it roll past my office window and felt absolutely nothing. No guilt, no second thoughts. Just the quiet satisfaction of following orders exactly as given. Wednesday afternoon, the phone started ringing. Not my desk phone that stayed quiet. The conference room phones, the executive assistant's line, the kind of urgent back-to-back calls that meant someone's day was about to get very interesting. Thursday morning, Steve Cross was on our main conference room screen looking like someone had kicked his dog. Steve was General Dynamics Director of Procurement, the kind of guy who'd spent 20 years turning defense contracts into an art form. When Steve wasn't happy, million-dollar relationships started sweating. Those tensile strength reports were falsified, he said, his voice cutting through the room like a Ka-Bar knife. We caught it in incoming inspection. If we'd installed these parts without testing, we would have had catastrophic field failures. American soldiers would have died. The conference room went dead quiet. You could hear the air conditioning cycling. Rachel Morgan fidgeted with her pen like it might save her. Brandon's face went red, then white like he was cycling through the stages of career death. We need to understand how this happened. Cross continued, his eyes scanning the faces on his screen. And we need assurance it won't happen again. This is a vendor qualification issue now. Vendor qualification issue. In defense contracting, those 3 words were like being diagnosed with cancer. They meant reviews, audits, possible contract termination, and a black mark that followed you to every other potential client. Brandon cleared his throat. Steve, we're conducting a full investigation. Marcus here usually handles our quality interfaces with your team. I felt every eye in the room turn toward me like spotlights. This was it. The moment they'd pin their process failure on the guy who'd followed their process exactly. Classic corporate strategy. When the system fails, blame the person who exposed the failure. Actually, I said, keeping my voice as level as a surveyor's transit, quality interfaces aren't in my current scope. Per HR directive, I'm limited to documentation and scheduling coordination. The silence stretched like a tripwire. Cross leaned forward on his screen. Are you saying you knew about this quality issue and didn't flag it? I'm saying I was formally instructed to stay within my defined job description boundaries. Quality issues are handled by quality department personnel through established channels. Brandon jumped in like he was diving on a grenade. Marcus, that's not what we meant in the meeting. That's exactly what you meant, I said, sliding the highlighted job description across the table. The paper made a soft whisper against the wood. This was a formal HR directive. I followed it to the letter. Cross picked up the document from his end, somehow probably had someone scan and send it. He read it slowly, his expression shifting from confusion to understanding to something that looked suspiciously like respect. 25 years of military procurement had taught him to recognize when someone was getting hung out to dry by their own command structure. I see, he said, his voice carrying a weight that made Brandon shift in his chair. This changes our contract renewal discussions considerably. After the call ended, I walked back to my desk feeling lighter somehow. Not because I'd won anything, there were no winners in that room, but because for the first time in 15 years, I'd followed orders instead of fixing problems, and everyone got to see what that actually looked like. Brandon appeared at my cubicle within 10 minutes. He didn't sit down, just leaned against my desk partition with that fake friendly smile managers practice in the mirror. Marcus, you're making this harder than it needs to be. We're all on the same team here. I looked up from my keyboard, are we? Because teams usually have each other's backs. They don't hang people out to dry and then blame them for following direct orders. His smile got thinner, like someone was adjusting the dial. Look, I understand you're frustrated about the role clarification, but this attitude isn't helping anyone. My attitude? I'm doing exactly what HR directed me to do, exactly what you sat there and agreed with. HR works for the company, Marcus. So do you. That phrase hit me like a flashbang grenade, clean, simple, and completely revealing. HR works for the company. Translation: the rules exist to protect the system, not the people in it. When the system needs a scapegoat, the rules change. When the system needs a hero, the rules disappear. Roger, that I said. And right now the company wants me to stick to my job description, so that's what I'm doing. Brandon's face cycled through expressions like he was running diagnostics. Confusion, frustration, calculation, and finally something that looked like recognition. He was starting to understand that I wasn't being difficult. I was being precise. Marcus, he started, then stopped. He stood there for another 30 seconds, probably trying to find the right corporate speak to make me bend. When he couldn't, he walked away. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with my son's college acceptance letter, Ohio State engineering program, $47,000 a year, including room and board. My wife was at her book club, probably talking about everything except the medical bills that kept showing up from her surgery 6 months ago. The mortgage had 12 years left. At 49, with 2 teenagers and a wife recovering from a major operation, I couldn't afford to lose this job. But I also couldn't afford to keep playing their game by their rules while they changed the rules every time it suited them. I opened my laptop and started typing. Not a resignation letter or some angry manifesto. Just a timeline. Dates, meetings, directives, and outcomes. 20 years in the Army had taught me one fundamental truth. When the shooting starts, the only thing that matters is what you can prove. The next morning, there was a meeting request in my inbox. Performance discussion with Rachel Morgan and Brandon Walsh. No agenda, no context, just a calendar invite and the corporate equivalent of a death sentence. I printed my timeline. 3 pages of dates, facts, and direct quotes. Then I put on my best shirt and walked into that glass conference room like I was reporting for duty. The performance improvement plan was waiting on the table like evidence at a court-martial. Concerns about flexibility and collaborative engagement. The document read: resistance to cross-functional support initiatives. Negative impact on client relationship management. I read it twice while Rachel and Brandon watched me like bomb disposal experts, waiting to see which wire I'd cut. Corporate doublespeak translated into plain English. We need you to work for free and take the blame when our broken system produces broken results. This is about the General Dynamics incident, I said, setting the paper down. This is about patterns of behavior, Rachel replied, her voice gentle as a scalpel. We've documented instances of inflexibility, reduced collaborative spirit, unwillingness to support cross-departmental initiatives. You told me to follow my job description. I followed it. General Dynamics had a quality failure. Quality department owns quality failures. I stayed in my lane exactly like you directed. Brandon leaned forward like he was sharing a secret. Marcus, you used to be someone we could count on. Someone who stepped up when the team needed help. Now you're just transactional. Transactional? The word hung in the air like cordite smoke. In corporate speak, transactional meant you expected fair exchange for your work. It meant you wouldn't donate your expertise for free while other people got paid to take credit for it. Apparently, that was now a character flaw. I'm being consistent. I said, you want collaboration. Put it in the job description. You want me to handle quality issues, update my scope, and pay grade accordingly. Until then, I follow what's written. Rachel's pen clicked against the table. Marcus, we need you to demonstrate willingness to support the business beyond narrow role definitions. I'm supporting the business by following the processes and boundaries you established. If those processes don't work, maybe the problem isn't with me following them. The room went quiet, except for the hum of fluorescent lights overhead. I could see them recalculating, trying to find an angle that would make me the villain in their story. But the math was simple. They'd created the restrictions. I'd followed them perfectly. The results spoke for themselves. This is a formal performance improvement plan, Rachel continued. 90 days to demonstrate improved collaborative engagement and cross-functional flexibility. I looked at the document again. 30, 60, and 90-day checkpoints. Measurable objectives like proactively identify cross-departmental support opportunities and demonstrate willingness to exceed role boundaries when business needs require. Translation: go back to doing 3 jobs for the price of 1, and if anything goes wrong, we'll have documentation showing you were supposed to be flexible and collaborative. What happens if I don't sign this? I asked. Brandon and Rachel exchanged glances. The PIP is part of our progressive discipline process, Rachel said. Refusing to participate would be considered insubordination. There it was. Sign up to be their unpaid fixer again, or get fired for insubordination. Classic corporate double-bind. Heads they win, tails you lose. I picked up the pen and held it for a moment, feeling its weight. 20 years in the Army had taught me about impossible orders. Sometimes you follow them and hope for the best. Sometimes you find a third option. I need to review this with legal counsel, I said, setting the pen down. I'll respond within the standard review period. Brandon's face tightened. Marcus, this is a straightforward performance discussion. There's nothing here that requires legal review, maybe not. But I'm 49 years old with 15 years of documented performance reviews. If we're changing expectations, I want to make sure I understand my rights and obligations. Rachel's smile got more forced. Of course, you have 5 business days to respond. I stood up and collected the papers. I'll get back to you. Walking out of that conference room, I felt something I hadn't expected. Not anger, not fear, but a kind of clarity. They'd shown me exactly how the game worked, and now I got to decide whether I wanted to keep playing. 2 weeks later, I was back in the same room. Same glass walls, same fake plants, same conference table where careers went to die. But this time there was a different document waiting for me. Workforce restructuring, Rachel said, her voice carrying that practiced sympathy managers use when they're about to ruin your life. We're eliminating the operations coordination role, effective immediately. Brandon nodded like he was doing me a favor. The company's moving toward a more streamlined operational model. We'll be redistributing those responsibilities across existing roles. I looked at the severance package, 2 weeks' pay, health insurance through the end of the month, standard release forms absolving them of any wrongdoing. The usual corporate burial ceremony. So this position doesn't exist anymore, I asked. We're integrating those functions into other departments, Rachel said. More efficient resource allocation. I almost laughed. They were firing me for following their directives exactly, then pretending the job didn't matter. But I'd learned something important in that performance discussion. When you're dealing with people who change the rules whenever it suits them, the only winning move is to stop playing by their rules entirely. I'll need time to review this with counsel, I said. Marcus, Brandon said, his voice getting that edge corporate managers use when they're done pretending to be your friend. The offer is time sensitive. We need a response today. Then you'll have one within normal business hours after appropriate review. I didn't argue about the decision. Didn't ask why they were eliminating a role they just said was essential to cross-functional collaboration. Didn't point out the obvious contradictions in their story. I just collected the papers and walked out like a professional. My badge stopped working at 5 p.m. that day. 15 years of dedicated service, and they cut me off like a disconnected phone line. 20 years Army, 15 years civilian, and I was back to being a veteran looking for work. But something funny happened as I cleaned out my desk. Instead of feeling defeated, I felt something else entirely: relief. Like I'd been holding my breath for 15 years and finally remembered how to exhale. That night, my phone rang. Unknown number with a Cleveland area code. Marcus Kane? This is Steve Cross from General Dynamics. My stomach dropped like I'd stepped off a cliff. Yes, sir. I heard about your situation at Midwest. They said you were let go in a restructuring. That's correct. Cross was quiet for a moment, and I could hear office noise in the background. Phones ringing, conversations, the sound of a business that actually functioned. Marcus, we've got a problem. Those quality failures, they weren't isolated incidents. We need someone who can come in, assess the whole system, and fix it properly. Someone who understands what mission critical actually means. I felt something shift in my chest. Not hope exactly. Hope was too dangerous. More like recognition. The market was calling, and it was speaking my language. Are you offering me a job? I asked. I'm offering you a contract. Direct engagement with General Dynamics. 6 months, full system assessment and remediation. You'll report directly to me, implement whatever changes are necessary, and get paid for results. What's the scope? Whatever it takes to make sure we never have another quality failure like this. No corporate interference, no bureaucratic nonsense, no committees or cross-functional teams or any of that garbage. Just you, the problem, and the authority to fix it. I thought about my son's tuition bill. $47,000 for his sophomore year at Ohio State. My wife's follow-up surgery scheduled for next month. The mortgage payments that wouldn't stop because I got fired. At 49, with 2 teenagers and medical bills, this might be my last shot at real financial security. What's the rate? I asked. $80,000 a month. I had to sit down. $80,000 monthly. For 6 months, that was $480,000 total, more than I'd made in 3 years at Midwest. More than enough to pay for my son's remaining college, cover the medical expenses, and set aside actual retirement savings for the first time in my life. When do you need an answer? How about right now? I looked around my kitchen. Same table where I'd sat reviewing that performance improvement plan. Same chair where I'd calculated how many years I'd need to work to afford my family's future. Same house where I'd spent 15 years coming home frustrated because I couldn't fix problems the right way. Mr. Cross, you've got yourself a contractor. The paperwork arrived the next morning via overnight courier. 6 pages of clear, straightforward language. Scope of work. Assess and remediate quality control processes at General Dynamics suppliers. Timeline, 6 months. Compensation, $80,000 monthly authority level. Whatever necessary to accomplish the mission. No corporate doublespeak. No hidden clauses. No performance improvement plans or cross-functional collaboration requirements. Just work to be done and payment for doing it. By noon, Brandon was calling my personal cell phone. Marcus, I heard you're talking to General Dynamics. Any work you do for them needs to go through Midwest. We own that supplier relationship. I let him finish his speech, then said very calmly, Brandon, I don't work for Midwest anymore. Remember? You eliminated my position. You can't just steal our client. I'm not stealing anything. I'm a private contractor now. Check with your legal team if you need clarification on how that works. Within 2 hours, General Dynamics had sent a formal notification to Midwest. We have retained Marcus Kane as an independent quality systems consultant. Any interference with this engagement will be documented as a vendor performance issue and reviewed under our supplier quality standards. Vendor performance issue. Those words carried serious weight in defense contracting. They meant potential contract cancellation, failed renewals, and blacklisted status with other defense companies. Brandon could either accept it or watch his biggest client walk away entirely. The first week on site at General Dynamics, I found problems that should have been caught years ago. Not just at Midwest, their entire supplier network was compromised. Falsified test reports, bypassed inspection protocols, quality inspectors who'd been pressured to approve marginal parts just to meet shipping deadlines. I documented everything with the precision of a criminal investigation. Built new processes from the ground up. Trained their people to spot problems before they became failures. Showed them how to track issues back to root causes and prevent the kind of systemic breakdown that gets soldiers killed in the field. By month 3, their defect rates had dropped 85%. Customer complaints disappeared. Return shipments became so rare, they stopped tracking them separately. Steve Cross walked me through their main facility and pointed to charts that looked like ski slopes going in the right direction. "You know what the difference is between you and every other consultant we've hired?" he said. "What's that? You treat this like it matters. Like lives actually depend on getting it right." "Lives do depend on it," I said. That's what they never understood back at Midwest. The final invoice cleared on a Thursday morning, $480,000 in 6 months, more than I'd made in the previous 4 years combined. More than enough to pay for my son's remaining college education, clear all the medical bills, and put away serious money for retirement. But the real satisfaction wasn't financial. For the first time in my career, my work had been valued properly, not as donated labor or crisis management, but as professional expertise with measurable results. Brandon called one last time after the money hit my account. His voice sounded different, smaller. "Marcus, look, maybe we could work something out. The company's had some challenges with General Dynamics. We might need some consulting support." I thought about all those nights I'd worked late for free, all the crises I'd prevented without recognition, all the blame I'd absorbed to protect his reputation, all the times I'd been told to trust the system while watching it fail. "Sorry, Brandon," I said. "I'm booked solid through next year. Maybe try following your job descriptions." 6 months later, Midwest lost the General Dynamics contract entirely. Too many quality failures, too many process breakdowns, too much corporate bureaucracy getting in the way of mission success. General Dynamics moved their business to suppliers who understood that defense work isn't about covering your ass, it's about covering the people who defend your country. They never did replace my position. Instead, they hired 3 people to split up the work I'd been doing alone, cost them more than twice my old salary, and they still couldn't maintain the standards I'd established. Here's what I learned at 49 that I wish I'd known at 29. Your loyalty means nothing if it's not reciprocated. Your expertise means nothing if it's not compensated fairly. And the moment you stop giving away your value for free, people will call you difficult, unreasonable, transactional. Let them. Because somewhere out there, someone will pay you what you're actually worth. And when they do, all those years of being undervalued suddenly make perfect sense. Not as wasted time, but as preparation for the moment you finally understand your true market value. The company that treated you like overhead will call it betrayal. The market will call it business. And you'll call it the best decision you ever made. Sometimes the biggest favor your enemies do is forcing you to bet on yourself instead of their broken system.